I was a little slow on that fade out. My bad. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Bravo Zulu podcast. Video number 2 going up on the YouTube channel. If you're listening, go check us out. The link will be in the show notes. If you're watching, thanks. Don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't, hit the like button and turn on notifications so you could catch the next one and some of the live streams that we do of randomness. One of the next live streams is going to be Tuesday on the YouTube channel for the NBA Finals, Suns versus Bucks. Big Suns fan. Times I have been streaming those little Q&As and chats and stuff. It hasn't gone well for them, so we'll try it out for game 1 and see what happens. All right, so tonight's episode, today's recording, it's a little tough to talk about for me. Not because it's like super sensitive. It's just I'm not always that articulate with my words, and it might come off bashing, as I know a lot of people think I do regularly, of the Chiefs mess. It might come off as just complaining, but I really hope it doesn't. Really listen to it, and I don't think it will. So this is a couple of people that have listened have told me, like, oh man, like kind of referred to it as like a leadership podcast. And earlier in one of the episodes, I talked about that. It's clearly like, this is not a leadership podcast, right? I'm not trying to make this a leadership podcast. If it ends up touching you in some kind of leadership way, I think that's cool. You know, if you're someone listening and you're thinking of something I'm saying that's you can put in your leadership toolbox, I think that's awesome. But that's not my purpose or my intent. It's just kind of like a accident side oops. And why do I not want to make this a leadership podcast? Is I don't think of myself as like that great of a leader, or that what's the word, like learned, right? I'm not like read in on a whole bunch of leadership things. I'm not an expert. And I don't want to be the kind of like Charles Barkley always says, right? Like, I don't want to be your role model necessarily. If it is and it goes that way, then it's an accident. But I'm definitely going to tell you as a leader in the Navy, right? This assumed title that has been given to me and partially earned, but also just kind of given. I'm gonna tell you that straight up. But so going into this, I have some show notes I'll be looking over here. Leadership is not a business, but it is a business, right? We in the Navy as chiefs, or the war room, or anyone, right? As they always say, everyone's a leader. It kind of goes to my point. It's not supposed to be a business. You're not supposed to be making business out of this, right? So much of what we say and do and talk about as the selfless servant leader is supposed to be selfless in a servant kind of way. Yet you see so many leaders not doing that. You see so many leaders serving themselves. You see so many leaders. You all know, if you've been listening to the show any amount of time, it's a soapbox of mine, I'm sorry, but on social media, where it gives you the platform to self-service through others, that leadership, and to pass it off as you being this great leader, in touch, using all the resources and all that stuff, right? It comes off as like, yeah, look at me, I'm doing great things, but I think most people see through that, and they see that is not all what it is. And I think the ones that attract to it are looking to do the same. Or maybe they just don't have a leader nearby that can actually give it to them real. And you know, that's part of the social media problem too, is right, is being able to contact and stay behind the screen hidden and not have to deal with the actual personal conflict. And I just use that word as not in a negative way, but just personal interaction between people. You could just do it here and be like, oh man, that person's great, they understand me, because that person could hide behind the keyboard, just like, you know, on both sides they're hiding behind the keyboard, right? It's kind of, guess what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is not, it shouldn't be a business, but it's turned into a business. I've talked about so many people, military and otherwise, that flipped it into big $1 million careers, which is cool. Do your thing, you're paying your bills, you got to provide for your family. You know, I ain't gonna front and act like I don't want a fucking, you know, $1 million business. Of course, right? I think everyone does. Everyone who's entrepreneuring and hustling and wants to grow something into something. But I think it's disingenuous when you're falling back, or your main product is this: listen to me, I was this leader, or I am this leader. And it doesn't matter if it's business, like official business capacity, or otherwise, or if it's the Facebook leader, right? Listen to me, I'm a leader, and this is my product that I'm selling you, and not an exchange of goods selling, just selling you, right? I once heard that every conversation you have is a negotiation, right? Or is an opportunity for manipulation, right? A leader is always trying to manipulate. Don't think of it in the negative, but just the word. I'm trying to manipulate you into doing something for me. I'm trying to sell you on something so you could do something for me. So maybe I'll do something for you. And it's an exchange of goods, an exchange of ideas, right? You know, we can't just think of it as like I got money, I'm going to give you some money and then you're going to do this for me and stuff, right? Every conversation is that opportunity. When you sit down and you're doing a CDB and you're talking to a junior sailor and you're asking them all the questions, you know, the standard questions, how long you've been in, this and that, what's your intentions? Once you ask that, what's your intentions for after this enlistment, you're starting to go down that manipulation road of like, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? What's your plan? As you've heard in a couple recent episodes, right? And all that. And you're going to start trying to manipulate them into doing something. Maybe it's not directly for you, but you, me, us as chiefs, the chiefs that are listening, right? Or even you as a first class doing that CDB with your sailors, it's the same thing. You're going to try to manipulate them into doing something for the Navy. Why? Because that's part of the business retention to keep it going, right? So if it's not supposed to be a business, but it is a business, and we're treating it like a business, I'm just lost, right? I think you are too. So, you know, my next line I got, I was already kind of talking about this, right? It can't be selfless if all you do is talk about your leadership or how to be a great leader. And some people are like, well, you got to train and mentor. Yes, you can train and mentor. But if your training and mentoring always comes back to, you know, me, this is how I do it, 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 right? I'm a broken record there. Then it's about you. You're making it about you. You're not making it about that person. You're not making it about the transaction of mentorship where you have a receiving mentee, you know, trying to receive what you're trying to bestow upon them. You're just making it about you, right? You're amplifying your own voice as a leader. Why? Because every conversation is opportunity for manipulation. You're trying to convince them that you are the leader that's going to change their career, that's going to change their life, that they should follow, right? That's the biggest one, right? Leader, one leads, everyone follows, right? So that's the transaction. Let me talk to you. I'm going to tell you all about how I'm a great leader because I need you to follow me so we could go get this job done. And yes, that is like so much part of what needs to happen. But in the context of what I'm talking about, right? If it's all you talk about and all you come off as it being about you and your ways and your methods, then can it really be about the other people? Those mentees, the junior sailor, the co-worker, right? I know my friend always busted me about saying it's too much military. You know who you are, but your coworkers, whoever it is, right? It has, if you're going to manipulate them, and it's a transaction of manipulation, you're going to get more out of that transaction if it's more about them, right? Um, and then this is something I kind of said briefly, right? A leader is an applied title, right? That is given. I was given the title leader, right? Um, and this is on me and my boy Frank in one of the previous episodes that if you listen to it, if you haven't, go back and check it out that we talked about, right? It is given to you as you move up the rank structure. All of a sudden, you become a leader, right? In different branches, starts happening at different spots. For instance, like the Marines as an E5, right? I think the Army too, right? You're that NCO, right? That non-commissioned officer. In the Navy, we don't call them NCOs. It's just like you're still junior enlisted. And then, but like for the different branches, it starts breaking out at different areas. And then for the Navy at that E7 level is when you have that major breakout. Whereas like the Marines and other places, it's like that E6 level where it's like you're the E6 now. You better be able to run all your shit the right way. You know, if you have friends, ask them about it. Ask them, what have they seen in the branches that differ. Um, it's a term applied to positional authority that we just move up into, right? We have this positional authority. I'm that person that's in charge, right? Leading, the boss. No one likes to use the word boss, but let's just, put it out there for everyone listening. Got a lot of people listening. And I'm in this position to hire, to fire, to assign duties, to do this, to do that. And with it, somewhere along the line, somebody said, we're going to call that person a leader. That's what we're doing. When? When did that happen? For the Navy folk, when did we start applying the term deck plate leader to leadership? I know it was long before I ever got in the goat locker. Okay, so if you're listening and let me know. I don't know. Someone might bust my balls about, well, you should know the history. Save it. If you know when we started using deck plate leader, please let me know. I'd be interested. Because it sounds more like a marketing slogan, right, than an actual type of leader. Which if you go read all those books by Maxwell, and I got a couple back there, even myself that I've read, I don't think anywhere in there it says type of leader, deck plate. I don't know. I haven't seen it, right? So again, it just sounds more like a marketing term that we've put on ourselves, which is cool. We got to market ourselves, right? Because we got to put ourselves out there so people can see us and find us, so we can manipulate that conversation into them doing something for us, so we could, write it on their eval and on ours. Let's keep it a buck, okay? And when I say it's not often earned, now that's where I know people will be up in arms throwing, what do you mean I earned every, I'm not, look, I always say this, if you throwing your arms up, getting mad, thinking I'm talking about you, then maybe accidentally I am. I don't know. You shouldn't be mad though, because it shouldn't be applied to you, because you should be doing it the right way, right? Aha, now light bulbs are going off. I see them, all right? Turn your volume up, all right? Turn the volume up. We're getting deep here. All right, it's a term applied to, I say it's not often earned. Well, now we have to consider what is the measurement, what is the stick of measure that we're qualifying earned, right? What's the definition of that? And how are we applying that to each individual? Each individual earned it their way, right? And is in the Chiefs mess. And I know several people out there, if if you ain't ever been on a ship, some people don't think you earned it. If you've never deployed to here or there, some people think you never earned it. If you've never, left San Diego, some people think you never earned it. If you've never been overseas on a ship out of Japan, FDNF, you've never earned it. So everyone earns it a little bit different. But again, what is that measuring stick? How are we defining earned? Who defines that? Maybe your maybe your junior sailors are the ones defining that. To you, chief, or to you, boss, out there in the civilian world. Maybe it's your coworkers and your I don't like this word, subordinates, right? Maybe it's them that are looking at you and saying, they didn't earn it. They didn't earn the right, or maybe not the right, but the way I look at that junior person, they didn't earn it. Looking at the chief, they didn't earn it. They didn't earn the space to be able to sit here and yap at me about this and that. Now, they going to have to listen because chain of command, right? And things like that, and rank structure. That's right. But we all damn well know in the military and in the civilian world, when you've been that low man, low person, low woman on the totem pole, right? And you've looked at that upper and you've thought, that motherfucker ain't earned the right to fucking talk to me like this. It's like, again, let's keep it a buck, y'all. Come on now. Like, we've been there. We've said that. So maybe you need to look at your coworkers, subordinates, junior sailors, ask them, do you think I earned this? You know, in the Navy, the anchor, in the other branches, the stripes. Do you think I earned it? Do you want to know what I did to get here? Maybe that's a conversation worth having, that opportunity for manipulation, to manipulate them into understanding how you got there and how you earned it. And maybe opening up some doors and showing some vulnerability in there, right? Man, I told you we're getting deep. All right, what do we got? We complain regularly about not having enough formal leadership training. Okay, so I don't know out there in the civilian world because I ain't been one forever, right? But in the Navy, and again, I don't even know about other branches. If you're in another branch listening and you got a lot more formal training or something, or what your methods are, please let me know. You know, we'd be interested to hear. I'll even get you on the podcast for an episode so we can talk about it. But in the Navy, for a long time, like the formal brick and mortar, schoolhouse training for leadership, I haven't seen it. The last time I went to a class for leadership is when I put on third class in 2005, 6, 7, 2007, right? Yeah, 2007 when I put on third class. I was in Sigonella, Italy, right? And we went to, it was a little schoolhouse place. They did some college classes there. It was at the end of the flight line over by the firehouse and stuff up there somewhere. There's maybe 20 of us in the room. There's some first classes leading it up. And that was Petty Officer NDOC. And I totally forget everything we went through, but it was at the time as a, 2-year sailor, just putting on his first stripe. I thought it was really good. I thought it was cool. I figured, or as I can remember it now, 16 years later, I learned a lot. But other than that, I have not been to any kind of formal training outside of the command, outside of a senior person sitting down and just kind of going over some things. PowerPoints. Fast, right? Let me know, again, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, let me know in the comments, what formal training do you have? If you're in the Navy, let me know. When did you go through Petty Officer NDOC? If you're in another branch, let me know. Do you guys have regularly, yearly, or do you, every time you put on a stripe or something, what do you get? All right. So we're always complaining about it, and we're not getting it. Now everyone's saying there's new things happening. I don't know all the way in on, right? There's some enlisted leadership developments and foundations and this and that. There's some outside organizations we can go to. But as far as inside the Navy, the change is slowly happening. But like as with any change, they're very, very slow to turn that spigot all the way on before it's blasting out. All right. So then I have those who are seeking more go elsewhere outside of our organization, right? And that's with most things, right? If you want, excuse me, I'm feeling parched. If you want more education, if you want top tier education or something, you're going to have to seek it. And many people were like, well, if you want to get better, you should have to do that. Yes, you should not have to do that. It would behoove you to do it. It would make you better to do it, right? You have a one leg up, one arm up on others that aren't doing it. But in an organization like ours, the Navy, who preaches this leadership at all levels, but especially the senior enlisted level, right? Where I'm at, I can't speak for the wardroom. Hopefully I'll get someone on here one day. Right. Where is that formal training to make us the leaders that we're marketing ourselves as? Now, if you're saying we don't need it and all we need is the pass down, I'd say maybe you're wrong. Some things can't be taught in a schoolhouse, but a lot can, right? And once you take formal and experience and you put them together, that's when you actually, I believe, in my opinion, whatever it might be worth to you, is when you actually start getting some real results. And you're going to be sitting there like, well, okay, well, motherfucker, what formal training do you have? I don't. And that's why I said it's a sensitive subject, and I don't like to talk about it. But when people are coming to me, asking me things and saying things about leadership stuff, I'm going to make an episode about it, and I'm going to, spill my beans about it. I don't have that formal training. Why? It's not that interesting to me. And yeah, that's my fault, right? I'm not going to be the best leader you ever had. I'm just trying to be the leader that you need today. How about that? How many people, how many chiefs out there, how many bosses, workers, employees, whatever, how many are just trying to be the best you can be today? Taking that shit, reading it, talking to the sailor, figuring out what the problem is, why it's late, routing it, hand walking it, doing whatever you need to do to get it back same day or the next day to get that sailor an answer if they could go on that emergency leave or just on regular leave on Friday and today's Monday. And they just found out, or figured or decided rather that they want to go leave Friday. Are you going to be the best today? Or are you trying to be the best every day? So now, you can't do that. You can't go fight that fight because you got to be the best next week to other people. I don't know. I'm just talking. You're just listening. I appreciate it. Don't forget, visit the YouTube channel so you can see this video if you're on the podcast, right? All right. So how many books, courses, and symposiums do you need to take before you're qualified as a leader? Ooh, there you go. How many? 0, because I'm a leader. And now, like I said, I've read some books, right? Courses, you could call the chief season a course, kind of, right? Maybe, I don't know. What would you call it? Symposiums. There's what's a first class one? Enlisted Leadership Foundation over here. They're everywhere, but they do events here in San Diego for their E65. I did one of those, right? But again, does all of that stuff qualify me as a leader? Or is it, again, for the military, for the Navy listeners, right? For my civilian listeners, bear with us, right? Or is it the board, the all those master chiefs and all those officers and everyone that looked at all those packages for the whole Navy, that looked at our record of performance and decided that these were the chiefs for that year? Are they the ones that are qualifying us as the leader? Right? Just their simple, not simple, because I'm sure it's hard. I wouldn't want to do it, right? There for the week or 2 weeks, just reviewing everything over and over. Simple is not the right word, but that process, is that the sole indicator that you are a leader once your name comes out on the list? So like a light switch, boom, from E6, name on the list, you're now a selectee, you are a leader? Or were you the leader before as the E6? Some are, some aren't. Again, what qualifies you? Is it a PQS, some signatures, right? Is it experience? Could you be that 21-year chief, or excuse me, that 21-year first class and be the best leader that sailors have ever had? And would you be proud of it, or would you be ashamed because you're not retiring in khakis? So you feel unaccomplished. You feel like you're a failure. You feel like you haven't done your career right because you just did not get into khakis for whatever reason. But maybe to so many dozens of sailors out there, you've been the best leader they've ever had. So then the leadership is only defined by our uniform or what we wear or by some kind of, plaque thing, right? What is it? What is it? What qualifies you? Again, let me, if you, hey, come over to the YouTube channel, light up these comments. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. All right. All right. How can we then claim to produce such great leaders? Right. Right. If we're not knowing what's qualifying them, qualifying us, right, then what makes us these great leaders? And this is something, we've touched on again in a few episodes, recent ones. Is kind of like it's this built up equity of moments from years, generations past, where, excuse me, where the sailors and chiefs especially, right, but not just chiefs, sailors across, whether Marines, Air Force, whatever, it doesn't matter. Any branch, name it, right? Your soldier, sailor, airmen, Marines, where they've done such great things under, fire, under pressure, under, bad circumstances most of the time, right? That is built up the equity for us to sit here and be like, yeah, we come from a long esteemed line of leadership. Yes, that line is behind you though. So why are we resting on that? Back there. What are we doing? What are we doing? We're right here in the future, right now. Stop talking about that stuff. What does that really matter? They're good stories, and they should remind you of the honor that you carry in serving, and serving in the uniform or in that position. But you can't just always go back to those stories and be like, yep, that's why we're great. No, why are you great? Maybe you need to talk about yourself a little bit, but maybe you need to explain why you earned it to your sailors, or if you're in the civilian world, maybe you need to explain it, why you're at that position, why it's been 15 years of your grind, right, and experience that has gotten you to this spot that allows you to be called a leader, right? That and then that allows that conversation of manipulation to happen, so you can convince them to follow you. As with many military appreciation, and Laura, it was paid in blood of those before. Yeah, I just talked about that, right? Just talked about that. It's how long are we going to keep going to the bank to try to cash that same check? How long? We are simply riding on the coattails of those few. Yep. All right. Talked about that. Okay. So again, we've been kind of talking about this, right? How should we truly measure our greatness or leadership impact? How should we do that? The evaluation system, right? Most places everywhere has some kind of evaluation system. We are just right. We just wrote our E7 evals at work, and we're all sitting there kind of like twiddling our thumbs, like, hell, oh man, this is tough, right? And usually it's tough. People say it's tough because you didn't do shit all year. Well, yeah, you're right. That's right. When you don't do shit all year, it's tough, because then you're trying to make stuff up, or you're trying to remember what you did do, because we often forget, or we don't think it's that significant. But then you got to take that insignificant or significant that you forgot about, and you need to get that into your eval, and you need to get in there, nice and packaged so it reads well, right? But something else we were talking about there as we were sitting around was like, again, sorry for my civilian listeners, but like for the Navy, we were supposed to change up the evaluation system, right? It was supposed to be something different, where you were graded by your seniors, you were graded by your peers, and you were graded by like a one or two subordinates. Again, I don't like that word. I don't know why. It doesn't sound good. But they were going to grade you. And then now you have a more complete package of people looking at you as that leader and deciding, are you all that shit you talk on Facebook, on all those little special pages? Are you? Or maybe you're not, right? And let's be like, I know a lot of people are like, oh man, we don't need junior sailors, grading us. That wouldn't be good, right? Why? You scared? You scared? I'm not scared. say what you're going to say. It's going to be true, or it's going to be true, or it's going to be a lie. And part of the built-in package was going to be able to weed out those random, way outside the minutia of numbers, right? Everyone's grading you, let's just say average like 7s in an area. And then one person, doesn't matter if they might be senior, they might be junior, might be senior, all of a sudden just put out a 1 being the lowest, not good, right? All of a sudden there's a 1. Why? Explain that 1. Let's go back now and explain that 1. And part of it too was like a gut instinct thing. It was supposed to be like, hey, you're grading me, Josh Moore, and you have 15 minutes. Go. Right? Excuse me. And why was that? Because, excuse me. Damn. You're going to get gut reactions, right? When you read something and you're like, when you do a customer survey at the end of a telephone call or something, mostly, maybe not the greatest example, but you're going to read something and you're going to click boom, 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 boom. And maybe you're lazy and you're like, I'm just going to get 4s all the way down. Okay. Or maybe you read it and you're like, oh no, that sucked. 1. Boom. Major, just natural instinct. You knew that sucked, so you immediately went to 1. Next one, that was all right. 3. And it's that gut instinct is what they were going for. I don't know what happened to that program. I don't know if it's alive, just in the closet somewhere. I don't know if COVID killed it. I don't know what happened, but it'd be nice to see some kind of new evaluation system. All right. Yeah, and I think that's it for this video, this podcast episode. Again, like I don't want to come off too much as like bitching and griping or complaining, and I definitely don't want to come off as I know how, because I don't. I'm just as lost as everyone else should be lost, right? I'm just trying to figure out. I'm grasping at straws every day, asking for help. What do we do here? What do we do there? Some things are easy, right? Some things I know. Hey, this is what we're doing. Hey, this is how we take care of that. This is how we take care of that. But not everything. But it's just this, this, again, I kind of led with like people asking me like, hey, it's a really good, or they're grabbing leadership things from it or commenting on leadership. Well, this is what I think of leadership. And I don't think I'm the one to be representing leadership in a, Navy-wide kind of spectrum. Right. I don't think that's me. Someone's out there. I'm sure they could do it better than me. Right. Maybe. I don't know. I know some good people that could probably do it. Right. That are much well read in on, those books and formal and have gone out of the way to learn and their experience is far vast more than mine. Right. It's just way more experience than mine. So, I appreciate everyone listening. I appreciate you stopping by and, just hanging out with us for a moment. Again, on the YouTube channel, Bravo Zulu on the YouTube channel. If you are listening, go ahead and stop by, check it out, watch it again after you just listen to it, or just go watch it. And don't forget to like and subscribe, turn on notifications on the YouTube channel, and all that good stuff, yo. All right? Yo, we out. For more information on how you can support the podcast, please visit anchor.fm/Bravo Zulu Podcast. The information, views, and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely of Joshua Moore and individuals involved and do not represent the DOD, DON, or those of the respected institutions or organizations. Thanks for joining us.